Roger Stone here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history. That's actual physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or you're retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/stone right now for your free Roger Stone Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit. Or call 800-747-6589. That's 800-747-6589. Call now to receive your free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.
You're commuting home with Katz and Cosby. Now, here's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby on 77 WABC.
And joining us now here on Katz and Cosby is a great Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, Michael Goodwin. Michael, your reaction to the debate. You had a very powerful column about it.
Well, thank you, Rita. I think Kamala Harris overperformed and Donald Trump underperformed. And we'll have to see how far the needle moves in terms of the polls. That'll take, as my friend Ed Rollins says, it takes a week or two to seep through the bloodstream. We'll see what the audience was, how many people stayed into the end, et cetera. But I think there's no question that she helped herself, and he probably, I don't know if he hurt himself with his supporters, but I don't think he gained any new supporters as a result of last night.
I agree with you, Michael. And it's similar to, I didn't think she would perform that well. And I've said that all last week. I made the example, it's like a lightweight weighing 100 pounds going after a heavyweight in a boxing match weighing 300 pounds. And she surprised everybody and did perform better than anybody expected. And go ahead, Michael.
Well, I was going to say, I like the boxing metaphor, John, and I thought of one later, too, which was Muhammad Ali versus Sonny Liston. Sting like a butterfly, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I think that was sort of her tactic. It was to sort of fly above the radar and then just come down occasionally and hit him. And he looked like he didn't quite know where she was and how to hit back. And he, I think, got tangled up in his own thoughts. He just seemed to be out of sorts and never quite could get completely on track.
You know, Michael, though, in fairness to Trump, I was disgusted at the way ABC News. I've moderated debates. We've all covered many debates. I have never seen such biased journalists. And on the flip side, they were so, like, I use the word almost complicit with her. They allowed her to bob and weave. They didn't ask about her flip-flopping. They seemed more concerned about January 6th and the election than the economy, than immigration, than all those things. It was disgusting.
It's like they had an agenda.
Oh, yes. I completely agree. And, it was essentially 3 against 1. And you're right about the lack of follow-ups to her. I don't believe they pushed her on anything. Even when they asked a decent question, such as about fracking and things like that, they let her get away with just a speech, which she had clearly rehearsed. She rehearsed a lot. You could see she had worked on this. She put a lot of work into this performance. She was an actress playing the role, and she played the role well. The hand on the chin, the smile, the shaking the head. She turned to him. She spoke to him a lot. So while I do believe the moderators had a large impact on this, and I think that they contributed to Trump's sour mood and his decision to sort of just keep hammering her without really connecting her to the Biden administration in ways that I think would have resonated. He didn't come with any new idea. And I have to say, too, on the abortion issue, I think he hurt himself. And here's why.
I actually disagree. I actually thought he did well, but go ahead, Michael.
I'm going to hear what Michael says.
You don't want to hear what I have to say?
No.
Go ahead, Michael.
I'm not getting in the middle of that one.
Yeah, exactly. We have fun. We shout all the time, on and off air. Go ahead.
Look, I think the question of a ban, an abortion ban, would he sign an abortion ban as president if it came to his desk, which would presume a very heavily Republican Congress in both chambers, not likely to happen. But he has said before, and he told me that he would veto an abortion ban. He would not sign an abortion ban, in part because he believes in exceptions for the health of the mother, right? Rape, incest, health of the mother. Those are three exceptions he has talked about repeatedly. Well, if that's the case, then of course you would sign an abortion ban if it allowed no exceptions. He didn't say that last night. He said he didn't think it would ever come to that, which is true, but he said he had never discussed it with J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance said he would not sign an abortion ban. So I think what has happened in the meantime is that the Republican Party is essentially a pro-life party. And Trump has pushed it with this question of exceptions. And he's correct. Look what happened in Kansas. Look what happened in Ohio, red states where people overwhelmingly voted to have some abortion rights. And so I think he has gotten trapped between his instinct to appeal to a larger base on that issue and the pro-life elements within the Republican Party, which have been loyal to him, despite his long history as essentially being a Democrat. And I think he last night said, I'm going home with the people who brought me to the dance, which is the pro-life element. And I think he stressed that. And I think that probably hurt him among some moderate women, particularly in the swing states.
We're almost out of time. When I ran for mayor, I said it's up to the woman, it's up to her doctor, up to her family, full stop. You can't tell the world what to do.
Yes, and I think that is not the prevailing power structure, particularly I think among many evangelical Republican voters. They do want an abortion ban. They saw the overturning of Roe v. Wade as the first step in eliminating abortion rights as in many states as possible. Trump has tried to balance that, and last night he seemed to be caught offside. So I think there will be repercussions. I may be wrong, but I think there will be some repercussions from the way he tried to dance around that last night. And I thought that it was a low moment when he said, I haven't discussed this with J.D. Vance. I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, see, I thought actually some of his answers on that was decent. I hear where you're coming from, but I thought he also said, let's go to the states. It's up to the voters. I thought that was powerful. Real quick, before we let you go, where do you think the race goes from here, Michael?
I suspect that there's not a dramatic change from last night. I think as I say, she helped herself. We won't know for a couple of weeks, and there'll be lots of intervening events, presumably, in the meantime. So we may never know exactly what the impact was of last night. But if you going into the debate, she was sagging. The euphoria was over, and he was gaining ground. And, Nate Silver had him a 62% chance of winning the Electoral College, et cetera. I think there's probably a few nicks in that scenario now. But it's clearly not over. It's clearly still a tight race that could go either way depending on what happens in the next 60 days or so.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Michael Goodwin, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. We love having you here on the show. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you both.